His chubby physique, gritty demeanor, and hardcore wrestling style, nothing about Mama Foley's little boy said main event wrestler, especially in Vince McMahon's WWE. Yet, it was exactly these qualities that made Mick Foley stand out. I mean, if you really think about it, Mick's whole career was like a big middle finger to conventional wisdom and expectations to the wrestling world. He was supposed to be just another wrestler, but he turned out to be one of the greatest to ever step into the business. This is how Mick Foley changed wrestling forever. Foley's wrestling journey started in the early 80s. Even back then, he and his friends were already creating home movies of their own backyard wrestling matches, possibly among the pioneers of the genre. Foley found inspiration in his childhood idol, Superfly Jimmy Snuka, and his admiration reached new heights when, at 18 years old, he hitchhiked to Madison Square Garden in October 1983. Witnessing Snuka's awe-inspiring Superfly splash from a steel cage onto Don Morocco ignited Foley's desire to pursue a career in wrestling. To turn his dreams into reality, Foley trained under the tutelage of Dominic DeNucci, a two-time WWE World Tag Team Champion. Interestingly enough, his training partner happened to be none other than Shane Douglas. With DeNucci's guidance and alongside Douglas, Foley made his in-ring debut in June 1986 in Clarksburg, West Virginia. From there, he gained experience in tag team action and ventured into various promotions, including Bill Watts' UWF and a brief stint in Vern Gagne's AWA. However, it was his time in Memphis that provided Foley with his first big push. After spending some time there, Mick finally got noticed by the bigwigs at WCW and got signed to a deal. He burst onto the scene by attacking Sting, sparking a rivalry that ended with a brutal Falls Count Anywhere match. After that, Foley entered into a phenomenal feud with Big Van Vader, which is still talked about to this day, mostly because of the fact that it was during this feud that Foley lost his ear while wrestling. Mick wanted to increasingly become more physical, more violent, bloodier, more over the top. However, WCW was going in a different direction and didn't want him to do any of that. So he decided to pack up his bags and leave. After leaving WCW under controversial circumstances, Foley made his presence felt in Extreme Championship Wrestling and Japan. His exceptional work in Philly soon caught wind, and the folks over at Titan Towers started taking notice. Vince McMahon and WWE couldn't ignore Foley's incredible journey and what he brought to the table. It was the start of a new chapter, and one that solidified his place in wrestling history. Following WrestleMania 12 in 1996, Mick Foley made his debut in WWE as the deranged and psychotic character known as Mankind. His encounters with Undertaker throughout '96 produced some truly unforgettable matches, including the brutal Boiler Room Brawl at SummerSlam. Although a Buried Alive match at In Your House, Buried Alive was expected to conclude their feud, they found themselves clashing again the following month at Survivor Series. In a surprising turn, Mankind temporarily diverted his attention from Taker to challenge Shawn Michaels for the WWE Championship at In Your House Mind Games in September '96. Mankind brought out a more aggressive and intense side of Michaels, proving Foley's ability to hang with the best in-ring performers and demonstrating that he was more than just a hardcore wrestler. The summer of 1997 marked a significant turning point in Mick Foley's career. Compelling interviews conducted by Jim Ross allowed fans to delve deeper into Mankind's psyche, evoking sympathy and support from the WWE audience. Despite his volatile behavior, such as applying the mandible claw to Ross, fans were ready to rally behind Mankind. His first major post-face turn angle saw him narrowly miss out on winning the King of the Ring tournament against Hunter Hearst Helmsley. This ignited a red-hot rivalry between the two throughout the summer, which was quite impressive considering the other captivating storylines involving the Hart Foundation, Steve Austin, and The Undertaker at the time. Their match at Canadian Stampede ended in a no contest, leading to a steel cage match at SummerSlam that kicked off the event in thrilling fashion. Foley paid homage to his hero, Jimmy Snuka, by diving off the cage onto Helmsley, a jaw-dropping moment that left fans in utter disbelief. Although Foley emerged victorious, the match took an interesting turn as he shed his Mankind persona and revealed a tie-dyed Dude Love shirt. Dude Love was the second of Foley's 3 WWE personas, characterized by a lighthearted and carefree nature, a complete departure from the dark Mankind. In the summer of '97, he teamed up with Steve Austin to capture the tag team titles from Owen Hart and the British Bulldog. Unfortunately, an untimely injury to Austin forced them to relinquish the titles. In September, at the iconic Madison Square Garden, Foley resurrected his old persona, Cactus Jack, much to the excitement of the crowd. He engaged in a brutal Falls Count Anywhere match against Triple H, culminating in a piledriver through a table and a signature WWE victory for Jack. Enter the New Age Outlaws. Billy Gunn and Road Dogg Jesse James proved to be a thorn in Foley's side, repeatedly leaving him battered and defeated. Whether it was Mankind or Dude Love, the brash tag team seemed to have Foley's number. But everything changed when Foley reintroduced Cactus Jack and teamed up with his old friend Terry Funk, who adopted the persona of Chainsaw Charlie. These two unpredictable superstars took the fight to the WWE Tag Team Champions and, at WrestleMania 14, appeared to capture the titles in a thrilling dumpster match. However, controversy surrounding the dumpster used led to a steel cage rematch, which the Outlaws won the following night on Raw. After enduring a brutal beatdown at the hands of D-Generation X, Foley voiced his frustration over the fans chanting Austin while he and Funk were being mercilessly attacked inside the steel cage. He decided to step away from the sport, only to make a surprising return a few weeks later as Dude Love. Foley's reemergence led to 2 pay-per-view main events against Stone Cold Steve Austin, both of which ended in defeat for Foley. In June, Foley reignited his rivalry with The Undertaker and, back under the Mankind mask, engaged in a brutal Hell in a Cell match. This encounter would go down in history as Mankind fearlessly plummeted from the top of the cell, crashing through an announce table, yet refused to give up. Despite sustaining injuries, he climbed back up the cell, only to be met with a devastating chokeslam from The Undertaker, which saw the cell break and legitimately knocking him unconscious and putting his tooth through his lip and lodged in his nose. The match continued, showcasing thumbtacks and blood, and although ultimately won by The Undertaker, it became legendary for Foley's incredible dedication to entertaining the audience. Many regard it as the pinnacle of Foley's illustrious career, and it stands as one of the most iconic bouts of the Attitude Era. In the fall of '98, Mankind became a puppet of Vince McMahon's corporation, playing the role of a sympathetic figure. He fought battles on McMahon's behalf, but never received the love and appreciation he sought from his boss, despite even entertaining him with the zany antics of Yerpel the Clown and the beloved Mr. Sacco. Foley would play a crucial role in The Rock's rise to success during his initial WWE Championship reign. Mankind had been betrayed by McMahon in favor of the self-proclaimed People's Champion, and he tirelessly sought revenge on his former allies while also pursuing the WWE title that had eluded him. On the historic January 4th, 1999 episode of Raw, which although pre-taped drew a massive audience as fans flocked from WCW's live Monday Nitro, Mankind seized his moment. With interference from Steve Austin and a chaotic brawl between DX and the corporation at ringside, Mankind captured the WWE Championship. It was a crowning achievement, the culmination of over a decade of hard work, blood, sweat, and yes, even gym socks. However, Foley's reign as champion would be short-lived. He engaged in a series of violent gimmick matches against The Rock, including the unforgettable I Quit match. forever etched in the minds of fans thanks to the documentary Beyond the Mat, released in 1999. Mankind and The Rock would forever be intertwined in the year 1999. Despite their brutal battles that pushed them to the limits, they surprisingly formed a reluctant partnership, at least on The Rock's part, during the fall season, which was the Rock and Sock connection. Together, they delivered some of the most hilarious and entertaining moments in WWE's storied history. The This Is Your Life segment, aired on the September 27th episode of Raw, remains the highest-rated segment in WWE's television programming. The chemistry between the two former champions was simply outstanding. Mankind desperately tried to win The Rock's friendship, while the self-centered Great One wanted nothing to do with the disheveled, masked oddity. Eventually, The Rock reluctantly accepted Mankind as his partner, and their partnership went on to capture 3 WWE Tag Team Championships. As 1999 drew to a close, it was becoming apparent that Foley's in-ring career might be winding down. His body had taken a beating, and his wrestling skills weren't as sharp as they used to be. But he still managed to entertain fans alongside The Rock and Al Snow. In late '99, Foley got involved in an angle with Triple H and the McMahon-Helmsley regime that would mark the end of his in-ring career for the next 4 years. Foley and Triple H kicked off 2000 with 2 unforgettable matches. The first was a street fight at the Royal Rumble, which turned out to be a breakout performance for Triple H. It had a compelling story and all the violence you'd expect from that type of bout. The rematch, held inside Hell in a Cell at No Way Out, played off Foley's history in that match, but it turned out to be a whole different beast from his encounter with The Undertaker and served as a fitting end to Foley's in-ring career. Although it was promoted as a retirement match, Foley's loss didn't mean he vanished from WWE. He would compete in the main event of WrestleMania 2000 and later return as the new commissioner of WWE. In 2004, Foley stepped back into the ring for a feud with rising star Randy Orton, which had been brewing since the previous June. At WrestleMania 20, Foley teamed up with The Rock to take on Orton, Batista, and Ric Flair in a 2-on-3 handicap match. Unfortunately, Foley fell victim to Orton's RKO, costing his team the win. But that match was just setting the stage for the ultimate blow-off in their rivalry. Orton and Foley met at Backlash. Orton made his entrance, armed with a stash of weapons, including a menacing barbed wire 2x4. Foley, carrying his infamous barbed wire bat, Barbie, received a thunderous reception from the fans. The chaos ensued as Foley swung Barbie at the garbage can shielded by Orton, setting the stage for a horror movie-like showdown. Orton countered Foley's overhead swing with a drop toe hold onto the unforgiving steel ring steps. The battle for dominance intensified as Orton attempted to grind Barbie into Foley's head, but Foley fought. Blood stained Orton's face as Foley intensified his assault, landing punches on the fresh wound. Foley reached for a lighter and a gasoline can, threatening to set Barbie ablaze. However, the intervention of Eric Bischoff foiled Foley's fiery plans, leaving the fans disappointed yet hungry for more violence. Foley compensated by striking Orton's head with a baking sheet before revealing a barbed wire board. In the end, Orton executed one final RKO onto Barbie, and the referee's hand came down for the count. 1, 2, 3. Orton emerged victorious, managing to retain his title against Foley. This match, however, will be remembered most for how Foley threw Orton onto a bed of thumbtacks, and Orton's facial expressions after were legendary. In the years that followed, Foley would occasionally step back into the ring. He had his WrestleMania moment in 2006 in a star-making match against Edge, where Foley was speared onto a burning table. His real-life rivalry with Ric Flair spilled over onto the screen, leading to a bloody, barbaric I Quit match at SummerSlam that same year. Foley's performance was phenomenal, to say the least. In 2008, he joined TNA and became its heavyweight champion by defeating Sting. However, as time went on, it became clear that Foley's body couldn't handle the regular wear and tear of in-ring competition, and he officially retired in 2012. All in all, there were a lot of superstars who played pivotal roles in the success of the Attitude Era, but none captured its essence quite like Mick Foley. He was the perfect combination of hard-hitting action, bloody violence, and sophomoric humor that kept fans entertained. Foley was a once-in-a-lifetime performer who gave everything he had for the fans' entertainment. He was smart, funny, and a great worker. Above all, he was a genuinely good person, as attested by those who knew him. It's highly unlikely that we'll ever see another wrestler who embodies so much in one lovable package like Foley did. He may not be a deity, despite those Foley as God signs, but he was damn good, and the wrestling business was fortunate to have him as part of it.